Nope. I would do that. I would do that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second episode of the Legends of the Shattering. I am your current GM, Isaac. You can find me on TikTok. My handle's under my name. I will introduce you to this wonderful cast. And then a really good friend of ours, I'm just going to shout him out now, Michael St. Gregory. You'll probably see him in the comment section, but he made us a wonderful intro video that he refused to let me see until now. So we're going to start off with this person, whoever is on this side.
Oh.
Dia, I do believe.
And I was muted too. It's okay, we're all doing it. Hey guys, I'm Dia. I'll be playing Koro, who's our bard for this party. You can find me on diavel.cos on all social media. That's your Twitter, your Instagram, but I'm mostly active on TikTok.
Next, little man.
So, Chris Kinney here, and I will be playing Evo Randy, your cute and cuddly little puka. You can find me mostly on TikTok and Instagram, Claybeard Studio. You can also go check out my website for really cool stuff like this.
It is very cool stuff. Next, make sure you're not muted.
I'm not muted.
Right, just making sure.
Hi, I'm Pixie. You can find me at Itsy Bitsy Pixie both on TikTok and Instagram. And then I am playing Xandra, our vampiric warlock.
Next, I was pointing to the other side.
It's okay, we'll all get there. I'm Oz. I'll be playing Nimbus, our Tabaxi Barbarian. And all my handles are below as well.
I'm bad at this intro thing.
My internet's bad. I'm sorry. Things are loading.
I'm just bad.
I am KJ. I play Orez, the party's spooky expert, the rogue.
Very much so, a spooky expert. And now we are going to get into our phenomenal intro. So if you would just sit back, relax, and enjoy this clip that I've been dying to see.
You have no idea how mad I am. I made
Thank you,
all
Michael.
of it.
Oh my god.
No,
That was
Thank
It
you,
was
Michael.
so
Thank you,
good.
Michael.
watch it on the
I'm so
VOD.
mad.
Michael,
I'm speechless.
Oh, Michael, you.
I'm gonna blog it everywhere.
Oh man.
I have to say, running the stream, my favorite part had to be watching each individual reaction underneath the clip being played. Michael, Chris was mouth open the entire time.
The whole time. Oh my
The
gosh.
whole time.
Oh man.
But anyhow.
It was so good.
We could just watch that for like 3 hours, right?
Yeah,
Like
just
the-
Yeah.
on a loop. This will work. This will work.
Oh man.
Michael says you're welcome.
Oh man.
Damn.
Phenomenal.
Damn.
Worth the wait.
I love that.
So, last time on Legends of the Shattering, we had 3 different groups wandering around in their own respective areas on their own missions, whether it was to earn coin, scare civilians, or hunt down monsters. Through a series of unfortunate events, you ended up running into creatures that would kill and copy the person they killed flawlessly. Ivo and Corey were able to figure out through running into them before roughly how to counter and combat these creatures, while Orez and Nimbus both helped you take it down. You two were the main impacted ones in this scenario. Traveling outside of the city, you ran into another friend in arms, one could say. She was taking a lovely nap up in a tree, and you rudely interrupted her slumber. Running into more of these creatures. Ivo and Corey, you were hunted by certain creatures of mythical nature and presumed to be legends. And in this moment, not only do you find out that the legends are real, but so does everybody else in the party, as you now have two of what you know as laughing horrors standing around you. Ivo, you were marked. And you have this figure standing in front of you, 10 feet tall, horns curved down his head. Corey, you tried to speak into its mind, thus hearing the laugh in your head and being marked. Very painfully necrotic, black ooze running up the side of your neck. And as this second taller figure stepped out of the shadow of the first, you could see that Ivo's was 10 feet tall, whereas yours was 14 feet tall. One horn coming down and curved around, and the other one broken, leaving jagged edges to hang off where it originally was. And as these two figures stepped out of the shadows, and the bigger one stepped out of the shadow of the shorter one, all of you saw the mouth. There are these big creatures, tall, very dark gray skin, with some very dark brown and gray going up the neck and kind of like trimming the face. They have no eyes. But what you can see is a mouth that spans almost over their entire face, going up into their horns. And as you are standing in the presence of these creatures, all of you hear them both laugh at the same time. And in that moment, Xandra, Nimbus, and Orez, I need all three of you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
$17.
16.
7.
As you're all standing there and you hear this awful laugh, when they laugh, you can almost hear it pierce your mind and go straight into your bones. All of you take 14 necrotic damage as this black ooze works the way up your neck, and you can feel it almost slithering up your veins. And as that happens, you see out of these two figures' shadow, a shorter one steps out of the 14-foot tall's shadow with a feminine figure, two horns going from her forehead up. Another one steps out of the 10-foot tall's shadow, stepping directly in front of Orez. Not as tall, probably standing at 7 feet, with horns that come out of the side of the forehead and curve down and right in front of the mouth, right where nostrils should be. And one more steps out in front of Nimbus. A 16-foot tall Goliath with no horns on its face at all, but two spikes coming off of the shoulders, rotating down right at chest level.
So, would I see the marks?
You would see all of them just in pain, probably grabbing their neck.
Okay.
And you know it is the exact same thing you did the first time.
Okay. So, if I remember correctly, Xandra placed herself between me
Yes.
and the creatures.
Yes.
Seeing their pain, I would scurry between Xandra's legs and, in true Red Panda fashion, put my arms up trying to get as big as possible and look at everyone else and go, "What are you doing? Run! Run!" Telling everybody to just run. As I take my bow out and knock an arrow.
Corey, you hear a whimpering behind you. And as you look, your weeping wolf is kind of dropping down on all fours, tail almost tucked between her legs, and she almost takes a step backwards as she's scanning in front of all of you.
Corey is going to draw her crossbow and sharply look at Eva and say, "We're not leaving you." Reka, what is it?
You will hear in your head, "We need to run."
Corey is visibly pouting and she says, and she scoops up to Eva. "You said run. Didn't say leave you." And then with Eva in one arm,
I was going to catch up with you. He's trying to keep his bow in front of him, trying to pull back a shot, but he just can't because it's getting.
There's nothing wrong with fighting to live another day. Let's go.
Xandra will also follow behind them then, obviously in pain, and she'll be sort of stumbling about, but also you can see in her eyes that she knows that this is not someplace they should be staying. And she will also attempt to run.
Seeing everyone attempting to flee the situation, Nimbus is going to go in a rage and hopefully cover their escape with his Misty area. That's a 30-foot radius.
Or is to catch you up. What was the last thing you heard? That's the real question. Yeah, I vote basically.
I don't remember because my internet was super glitchy, so I attached to something that's going to make it not so glitchy.
Fair enough. So
I was rolling a wisdom saving throw.
You failed. And as you were standing there, you
Obviously.
saw 3 more figures come out of the shadows of the other 2, and you heard all 3 of them laughing at the same time. And Ivo said, "Run." Like a red panda.
Aura sees that Nimbus is staying for a little.
Yep. Just
Well,
making sure
considering
that
the fact that spooky is Aura's whole deal, and these things are exactly that. Aura's is more curious than frightened. They're going to stay back with Nimbus until they get told to leave.
Nimbus is going to whisper to Orez through the mist. Orez, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to run.
Why?
Because do you not see the big scary things here?
Yes, they are like me, big scary. I'm small scary, but scary.
They outnumber us at least 10 to 1 in size and strength.
Nimbus.
Well, if you were saying that, I stay back to help.
As you're talking, Nimbus, you hear this directly beside you, and you can feel the breath.
Immediately, without saying another word, Nimbus grabs Orez by the waist and pulls him along as they try to make a beeline after the rest, in the direction that the others had went.
As you're running through the fog, you just hear this coming from the whole way around this fog. Just over and over and over. And it almost seems like it's getting closer every time you hear it. And you remember, they didn't have eyes.
How are they? How are they still following us? They can't see.
They cannot see. However, I strongly feel their other senses are probably very strong. Keep running. Do not stop.
Do I see any of them?
How high does your fog cloud go, Nimbus?
30-foot sphere, so in diameter. So an all 30 foot from myself as a focal point.
As you're running, Ivo, you look back, you're out of the fog cloud. You see Nimbus break the edge. Xandra and Orez all right with him as they are running. And you see a head without horns pops out of the fog.
I'm gonna lose a
As
shot.
you see the looming figure walking.
Lose a shot from my bow.
Go ahead.
That would be a nat 1, good sir. I cannot get a good pullback because Corey is holding me. So I'll tell her to go ahead and put me down, and then I can kind of keep up on my own. Yeah.
Roll damage.
Corey is
Roll
on
damage.
Reka.
Is this creature injured at all?
No.
No. Okay, that's what I figured.
But you also forget that you have 3 companions in between you and this creature, and you rolled on that one.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry, guys. Are any of them hurt?
I'm pretty sure all of them are hurt.
Yes.
I can choose to do it though, right? Okay, you can deal. I don't have to, so that's good. Let's see. That is a d8, 5, 10 points of damage. Piercing.
Roll me a d6.
That is a 4.
Xandra, Nimbus, and Orez, as you 3 are sprinting out as fast as all of your little legs and Xandra's long legs can take you. Nimbus, you get caught in the shoulder as you're running, and you take 10 piercing damage.
Oh, come on. Could have been Xandra. She's the tall one.
I'm just glad it wasn't me.
Man, I'm sorry.
How far away are all of us, would you guess? Are we within 5 feet of each other, or which of us are within 5 feet of each other?
Xandra, Nimbus, and Auras are within 5 feet of each other running out of this fog. As you broke the fog, Nimbus gets hit with the arrow, and you can see Ivo already let loose, but he's being swung around as Corey is running with him in her arms.
Okay.
And they're probably about 20 to 25 feet in front of you.
Okay. For Nimbus and Oris, then Xandra is going to cast Protective Wings, which will, when you or another creature you can see within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to manifest spectral wings from your back for a moment. You grant a bonus to the target's AC equal to your proficiency bonus against that attack roll, potentially causing it to miss also.
So, does that happen right now, or does that happen later?
It's a reaction.
That's an
Yeah,
okay.
it's as a reaction.
Got it.
I'll say you can use it. You can deflect the arrow.
These laughing horrors, do we know them to be more active at night? Like, do they fear the shadow, or is there no rest
You know
from their hunt?
nothing about them except the fact they hunt whatever is marked until they die.
Question. Am I able to use my shadow teleport with someone? Or is it just me?
Go ahead and read the description. You just muted yourself.
There's not much. It just says you must be within dim light or darkness and can only teleport into dim light or darkness. And then as I level up, it just gives me more range.
Oh, hell, why not? You can take one creature, one willing creature with you at a time.
I'm assuming Nimbus is closest, so I'm gonna just
Nimbus
kind of...
is dragging you.
Yes, that's true.
You didn't come willingly.
Yes.
True. I forget these things. Auras will just kind of get back onto their feet, push him towards the closest shadow, and then blip 30 feet forward.
Ores. Nimbus hates when you do that.
Do you want to die?
You must give some warning first.
No time!
Xandra, you see those two teleport. Like, you just see them slink into the shadows of your form. Like, there's light coming. And you just see them just, like, sink into your shadow and appear. How far?
30 feet.
Right in front of Ivo and Corey. And as that happens, you hear this right where they were.
I love it when they go on longer than you expect them to.
Oh no, I wanted it to go on that long.
Okay,
and
so
it's the largest one finishing up stepping out of the fog, and as it steps, you can feel the earth tremor just a little bit.
Xandra will take one last look around as she's been holding her neck this entire time. You lot, for not being real, are a giant pain in the behind. And with that, she will misty step back to the rest of the group.
Nimbus, still clutching Torres, will look back at the towering figure and say, "They're getting taller. Why are they always getting taller?" And we need to find some place to hide.
Oh, that won't do you much good. Which one seems closest to us? Or which one's more visible? Is it the tallest one?
It's the 16-foot one that has no horns on his head except the 2 horns coming off of his shoulders. And you can tell from the direction of his head when he's like looking at like really jerky motions. And he's not seeing. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I have something for this.
I would like to remind you of my passive.
Oh, this isn't for you.
That
Yeah,
was a 12 perception, but my
Or is
passive
it
insight
always
is 19.
Okay. You know what? We'll go with the 19 then. You see this big one as he's like kind of jerking his head around. He grabs the one horn on his shoulder and he rotates his arm a little bit, pulls it off of his shoulder, and you just hear a loud crunch. And you see him grab the end of it and he smacks it off of the nearest tree and it explodes. But you can feel the vibration come through. And as it does, his head jolts over, facing Nimbus.
This is
I cast Deafen.
some blind monk shit right here.
I cast blindness and deafness. Specifically deafness.
Okay, what's the save?
Fingers crossed. It's a con 16.
He rolled 16 exactly.
Oh,
At least another shot.
I was also going to say I'm going to do a blow dart shot.
Go ahead, both of you.
Can I hide before I do so? Now that I'm out of Corey's.
Same. Wait, I get advantage because I use my thing.
As you are all watching, Ivo, you get another arrow. You kind of scurry behind a tree and just, I don't know if you climb up it or just go beside it, but as you're watching, and or as you're kind of like trying to find the thickest shadow, you see the shortest 7-foot tall female looking one walk out. And you see the 10-footer Ivo, and you recognize this one. And Corey, you see the one with the other broken horn on its head.
Okay.
And there's
Going for
one,
10 foot. There's what?
there's
One
one
missing.
There's one missing.
Which of them are within 30 feet?
The 16-foot tall one.
Bane. And if any of the 2 others also come within that range anytime soon, Bane on them as well. I can choose up to 3 creatures.
You see the big 6 feet tall figure. Bane is disadvantaged, correct?
Yeah, if they fail a charisma 16 save,
Bane is minus a d4
Minus
to
a
attack
D4.
saving throws.
That was a nat 1, so it's
very good.
you see the 6 feet tall one takes another step forward, smashes another tree. And you
I'm
can
gonna try deafening that one
see
again.
the one horn that he ripped out is growing back.
The blind one that you described as going after Nimbus, right? Orez is moving, bonus action dash, so I can keep moving while I'm doing this. Taking a blow from their blowgun. That's a 22 to hit.
Hits.
That's 16 points of damage. That's sneak attack. And then I'll just whip back around and keep going.
You see it hit exactly where an eye should be. And you see it stop moving for a second. Kind of jerks its head a little bit. Tilts its head. And with its other hand, flicks the dart out. and takes another step.
Okay.
Xandra, what's your passive?
What's my passive?
Yes, perception.
12.
You can go with that,
Okay.
or you can roll a perception if you want to.
Okay, I'm gonna roll a perception then. 14.
As you're looking at this dome of mist and you see these 4 figures slowly walk out, you hear a twig snap on your right. And you see the second shortest one that stands at about 8 foot tall, with the horns that come down off the side and curve up where the nostrils should be, is sprinting out of the side of the fog and circling around.
Circling around
You
the
guys.
party?
To flank us, yeah. Do I notice that? Passive 17.
Yes, you notice it. I love how
Okay.
you're like, do I notice? By the way.
I just didn't want to make sure that you want, like, if you want to make me roll or something, that's fine. Can I whip
No, I
around
like
and...
actually using passives. It's convenient sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Can I whip around and pop shot at that one?
Yeah, how far away is this one from Xandra when she sees it?
It ran out and then around. You would know that it probably needs to run about another 60 to 80 feet to get to you, but it's sprinting.
Damn. Okay.
Ivo, as you whip around the tree and knock your arrow, you get a whiff of the most foul scent you've ever smelled in your life. It smells like a kill that's been left to rot, mixed with something dark that you've never smelled before. And it's coming from the direction of the one that's running towards you.
That's fun. Uh, 8 plus 16. It's 24.
Hits.
24 to hit. That's 7 plus 5. 12 points of damage to that one. And continue running.
You, as you loose the arrow, you see this figure dashing between trees. Like it knows where every twig is and it's just going back and forth. And as it comes in between these 2 trees, there's an oak that splits into 2. And your arrow goes right between and hits it in the side of the head. And you see it get hit, stops for a second, freezes. Almost like the only thing you can compare it to is a hunter waiting for their prey to make a move. And as you turn to run, its head turns as you take the first footstep, and it starts dashing directly at you.
Orez is going to intercept.
You don't see this one. You're currently on the other side running, shooting
So, how far away is this one from Xandra now?
about 30 feet.
I'm going to Eldritch Blast it.
Get him!
22.
Hits.
Okay. 4.
Do you have any of like the special things that come with the Eldritch Blast or no?
Good question.
I don't know if you have like repelling blast that would throw it 10 feet or anything.
No, I don't.
Okay. You hit it with this blast, and it hits it right in the face, knocking a horn off. And you can see it almost stagger a little bit, and you can see a hole in the front of the skull where your Eldritch Blast hit. And as you're watching, you see like this dark black ooze, like spurts out of it, wraps around his head, and as it seeps back in, the hole's closed. Okay. Nimbus, what are you doing right now?
Honestly, it's kind of getting a little pissed off that he can't really do much. I mean, all he's really got is a crossbow and a rapier, and he's not proficient with the crossbow, and so he has to get within arm's reach of these guys, and just kind of standing next to Orez, trying to wait for his moment to jump in. And how close is the nearest one to me?
It's the tall one, and if you kept running like you were running, it's just steadily staying within 30 feet of you.
Okay.
Not walking any faster than it has to. Very purposeful strides, but you can tell it's taking its time.
Okay.
It's
Careful.
savoring its freedom is what it seems like.
Gotcha. Okay. Careful to stay next to Orez. Nimbus is going to turn around and try to run backwards while readying his crossbow. And he's going to not shoot at the creature, but shoot at like a tree next to the creature's head.
Go ahead and give me an attack roll.
Okay. If it's actually in inventory.
Can I use my action for the help action?
Yes.
You have advantage.
Okay. There's a 23 to hit.
It hits.
Okay.
Which one are you shooting at?
The tall one. And not shooting at him, or not shooting to hit, but like shoot next to him. Does he like react to the sound at all?
As you shoot, where exactly are you placing this bolt?
I want it to like whiz directly past him, but still make like when it impacts, still like right next to his head.
So he's actually walking, and he just passed up a tree. So you pick your crossbow up, you shoot, and as that crossbow bolt hits the tree, and you see him pause. And you see him suck in a really sharp breath. Just like a... And as he does, you can feel the black ooze on your neck start swirling. And it just... You can almost feel your heartbeat in your neck right where that's at. And as it finishes the... It turns and looks at you again.
So as Evo's running, he's going to do a very familiar call to Reika and grab onto her fur as she comes around and hop on her back. And we're going to go off, like try to outpace the one that's moving towards me, and try to like dart off like to the left maybe into the woods a little bit more and see if we can't take it off of everybody else's tail.
So you do that whistle, Rika runs over, and she almost like does like a little dip as she's running past, and you just grab on, and she keeps running as you do your kick up, and you like launch yourself onto her back, and you start just taking off. You can tell that she is going fast because all you're getting is a little whiff of the trees, the sap, just the normal nature that you smell. You don't have that overpowering, just menacing smell that you had previously. And as you kind of look over your shoulder, you see the one that was sprinting at you cut in, running directly towards Orez.
Since Evo has jumped onto Rieka, I imagine we sort of swapped over. When you called for her, Kore would have jumped off onto a different branch as she ran by. And she's going to retrieve her pipes. And I'm not expending a charge. But knowing that the big one is sort of using this vibration to see where we are, she's going to start play a tune. It's spellbinding in that it's eerie and unsettling, and it's incredibly off tune. It's very distressing. It's pitched high, and if you will allow it, she will also cast Minor Illusion to make it as loud as a screech, with the intent of trying to disorientate these creatures.
You can, and also that gets inspiration because that sounds badass.
Yeah. Thank you.
So as you start playing your tune and you start going up in the notes and playing very off pitch, and you cast that spell, all of you hear the worst music you've ever heard in your life. Just all the wrong notes, all high pitch.
Nimbus is definitely holding his ears.
Orez doesn't seem affected.
Rika is whining, and Evo's like, yep, that's the one.
You know she's doing it on
Xandra
purpose,
just-
because we know what she sounds like.
Yeah.
And Xander just starts to smile, this really big smile, and her eyes kind of light up, and she's like, yes, absolutely.
As you finish going up and you hit that last note and you hold it, you see the 16-foot tall one. He goes to hit a branch of a tree, and as he swings and you hit that high note, you just see.
And also,
And-
Minor Illusion lasts for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, well done.
So that's going to carry on. I'm sorry, darlings.
You notice that it's only the big one it's affecting. And it's just, it's standing there and it just stopped moving, and you see it drop the horn out of his hand. And he's just. And you see the one directly under that one, with the one horn broken off. The grin gets bigger, and it starts walking forward in a faster pace, directly towards you.
I can do that.
Does Orez notice the one that's bolting towards them?
What's your passive?
18.
Yes, you notice. You saw it running directly at Ivo. And as Ivo jumped up on Rika, you saw them take off to the left, and you could tell that they were just trying to get it to follow them, but it beelined right towards you.
Noticing that, Orez was gonna grin, and Nimbus, with the wideness of this grin, it replicates almost the grin of these things. And they just kind of say, all right, I've been waiting for this all day. And they diverge from where Nimbus is, and movement, bonus action, is going to just take off through the woods, kind of beelining it around in a similar fashion as this beast was.
Xandra, you hear just an explosion to your right as you're looking back at the cloud. and you see this figure about 8 feet tall just ran through half of an oak tree, just full out sprinting. As it collided, the tree just broke around its flesh. And as it runs straight past you, you see Orez turn and just dash. And as Orez is running, you can tell that this other creature isn't catching up, but Orez isn't outrunning it. And they both just take off.
Xandra will firstly call out to... Actually, is the music still playing right now? Are we still within that minute of the music?
The spell lasts a minute. She was just using the playing to cast it, kind of.
Capture it.
Okay, but we
The
can't...
music
like,
would have
that-
continued. The minor illusion captured it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, can everybody hear right now?
No, can
Corey,
you?
how would you want this to work? Would you want it to be everybody can still hear it, or just like music notes flying around this thing's head?
It would have been to whatever extent that she was wanting to capture all the horrors. It just so happens that you guys are there.
So yeah, it's still going on right now.
Okay.
Good luck thinking.
In that case, since communication is sort of out the window, Xandra will... Is there another one that's closer to me than the one chasing Orez right now?
You see the 16-foot tall one is probably around 30 feet away from you now, just because it stopped. It's still just kind of jerking its head around, almost kind of like clawing at its face.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see it grabbing the sides of its head, and you can actually see divots where ears would be.
Okay.
As it's like kind of like covering them and just jerking around.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
one that started with more of a meaningful stride directly towards Corey with the broken horn. You see the 10-foot one started walking off to your right, which was the same direction Ivo just booked it. And you see the 7-foot tall female looking one walking directly towards you with the horns coming out of the forehead going straight up. Just a very casual... You've seen this walk before in people who know that they're in control, and you especially saw it with Niall.
Xandra feels fairly triggered by that one in particular, and gets a sort of gut-sick assumption that that one is either stronger than the others or more in charge than the others. And she is going to cast Eldritch Blast at that one in particular.
Go ahead and give me a roll.
Oof, that does not hit. That's a 9.
You are correct. That does not hit. You should actually have 2 blasts, though, at level 5 with Eldritch Blast. Does it say count 2 next to it?
Yes, should.
Yes, it does.
So you have 2 blasts.
Okay. Second one's a 19.
Misses. As you launch off that second one, you see her just shift over just a little bit, and it goes right past her head. And you see her very nonchalantly reach up, grabs one of her horns, and breaks it off. And as she does, you can already see the black ooze reforming and solidifying into the horn. She just lifts up her hand, and as she does palm up, you see the horn float, and she makes a flicking motion and it shoots directly at you. Does a 23 hit?
Me?
Yes.
Yes. Of course it does.
That would be 10 piercing damage.
Okay, not looking so hot.
You just see her tilt her head a little bit, smirk almost wrapping around her head. And she just keeps walking towards you.
Where did that spell go? Xandra is going to attempt. I'm going to attempt to use Awakened Mind on her, which gives me the ability to touch the minds of other creatures. You can telepathically speak to any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You don't need to share a language with the creature for it to understand your telepathic utterances, but the creature must be able to understand at least one language.
Are you telling me right now you're trying to telepathically speak with this thing?
Yes.
Okay. As you do that link, what are you going to say?
Tell me that you can at least speak something. And tell me what you want.
You see the grin, instead of covering half of her face, goes up to past where the nose should be. And you just see row upon row of teeth, and you see this black ooze just start dripping down her face. And you hear more laughter in your head. I clicked the wrong one, just ignore that. Very high-pitched female laugh as you feel the mark on the side of your neck burn. And you just feel it rush up the side of your face. And as it does, your eye feels like it's on fire. And you take 7 more necrotic damage.
Okay. Xandra will wince and sort of shudder back at the feeling of all the burning. I asked you if you speak.
Is this in her head again?
Yes.
Once again, you hear the laugh. And you get hit with 3 more necrotic damage.
Shouldn't have done that.
As it wraps around the front of your neck, and it almost feels like it's choking you, and it gets hard to breathe.
Well, I'm down.
Okay, so can Rika and I, seeing the other one part off towards Orez, and Orez take off and do her thing, can I come back around and pick up Nimbus onto Rika?
Yeah.
Okay. So Evo's going to come back around. You'll see him like hold out a paw and like make eye contact with you, like grab it.
Nimbus will definitely grab the ball, willingly sling himself onto the back of the
He slings it on there. He says, "Grab the rope out of my bag, quick!"
All right. Roots through the bag, eventually finds it, pulls it out.
Seeing, he says, "You know how to tie knots, right?
Of course. What do you take me for?
Well, tie a good one." So he wants you to basically tie like a noose or something. Seeing this exchange between Xandra and the other one, what I'm wanting to do is using my aim and Nimbus's strength, wrap it around the head of this one and take it for a ride.
Chris, I absolutely love that idea. Yeah, go ahead. Also,
Okay.
inspiration, because
Yay, we might need it right now.
instantly uses it.
Good thing I have mine as well.
Okay. So here we go. What do I need to roll?
Go ahead
Okay.
and roll an a ranged attack.
Ranged
Can I-
attack?
Also, give the help action for that.
Yep. So you have
Okay.
advantage on your range.
So I have advantage. Okay. Sneak attack. Okay, that is a 6 and natural 20.
Ooh.
Nat 20 plus 8 for ranged attack, so 28.
Is this when I tell you that her AC is 20? What do you do?
So I see the exchange go with Eldritch Blast. He's tying the thing. I grab it, kind of cut off, and try to come from the side of this creature. Just as I see it flick the horn, a streak of Reika, Evo, and Nimbus just goes. And what's left is just this still rope around her neck for maybe 1 or 2 seconds. 1, 2, and then it comes taut and just yanks her.
I would have also tried to fasten the rope. Does Rika have a harness or something that we're hanging on to? Or
She does not, but
There's no
I'm,
way. We got rid of that.
holding
I
it.
love how you're like,
No.
I'm holding
Oh.
on to it, and I've got it wrapped around my arm and tucked in, and I tell you to hold as well. She's like,
Alright.
"This is not going to be fun."
For this part, seeing that you are trying to take down a figure that is 7 feet tall,
Mm-hmm.
and you two are pretty tiny yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Ivo, I'm gonna have you give me a dexterity saving throw
Dexterity
because
save.
you're trying to hold on to Rika.
All right.
Nimbus, strength saving throw.
Strength. God.
14 plus 7, so 21.
Only 21.
It's only 21. My dex is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Good.
Nat 20.
Yes!
Ivo, as you're on Rika and you are just bolting it, you see the rope go around and you see the smile twitch down into a frown for just a second as the head tilts down, and you just see yanked. You're holding onto the rope and holding onto Rika, and as you're riding, you're expecting the rope to get tight. As you look behind you, you see Nimbus latched on with his legs around Rika's back, and he's just holding the entire weight of the rope himself. As you are just going, you see this creature's body start smacking off of trees. As it's hitting these trees, you just see them blowing apart every time it makes contact. And as you look back, Ivo, you would notice this because you live in the woods. You see black ooze everywhere where the tree touched the flesh of one of these beings. And you almost see the tree mend back together, but with a dark twisted nature. And you would know this as a blight. As you're just seeing this creature start hit off trees. You've probably taken about 10 down already. And it's like a pinball machine, just tick, 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 slams into a big oak. You just see all the legs almost cut through this bottom of this oak, and it explodes, and the whole thing starts toppling over as you three are on the move.
Can we find like a big tree to wrap it around and try to tie it up and then head back to the group? We've really got to get out of here. Like this is not good.
Or better yet, try to like zigzag through trees, trying to tangle the rope.
Yeah.
I would say that you would be able to try and zigzag through a couple of trees and get it tangled. Either that or Ivo, you would know that there is a bigger tree out of this forest. You think probably straight ahead, about 60 feet-ish through the break of the trees that you see.
He's concerned seeing the trees reform with the blight, that he doesn't want it to spread any further. He didn't really think this part through. So what would be the he's going to tell this concern to Nimbus. He's like, if we keep going, the whole wood's going to be blight. We got to tie this thing up or leave it somewhere, I don't know, or kill it.
It's just going to be blighted anyway. I mean, if we just leave it here.
What do you want to do?
Well, is there a cliff nearby?
Is there a cliff nearby? That's a great idea.
That there's a little bit of a valley in between you and one of the great mountains, but other than that, there are no cliffs or caverns that you know of anywhere close.
A small valley, but not a cliff. Nothing to throw it off of.
GM, Nimbus is gonna look behind. Is the big one who looked directly at Nimbus? Is he following?
He's still dazed. You see his head just jerking around, and he's covering the holes where his ears should be, and you can see the horn laying on the ground next to him, and his new horn is completely reformed on his shoulder.
Okay. Second question. I guess it's a blight spot. Does it look like it's a mystical, like, tendril thing that's just attached to the body, or does it look like it's internal, like coagulant?
You can tell it's internal. You can see it almost going through your veins. Like if you would look at Ivo, I guess you both have fur, so it doesn't really help. If it was a normal person, you would see black going up where the veins are, and the skin turning gray as it passes through.
As quickly as possible, Nimbus is going to try and relay. He's going to have an idea where he will try and slice open the blighted spot with a bolt. Take the blood and start running circles around all of the horrors, hoping to see if the blood from the blight will keep them contained.
So you're telling me you want to try to take the blood from your neck where it's infected,
blood, yes,
and go around the horrors on the ground?
Yes, or touch them with it, put it on their face. Some way, shape, or form, try and see if we can try and contain the horrors. That's what he's going to tell Ivo and see what his take is on it.
Yeah, we'll take Rika with with the one that's dragging back around, and try to maybe swing it in a way to hit one of the other ones, and then he can try his theory there.
Keep in mind, this is all while he's calves of steel gripping the side. Yeah.
You can try to trip the one chasing Orez.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as you are running and you're dragging
use it as a flail,
you playing pinball, you see almost like a flash of darkness run past you the opposite direction, and then a second flash of darkness. And as you kind of take a double take behind you, you see Orez just running, and you see shadow going off of them as they're running, and you see this other horror right behind. It almost seems like the longer they run, Orez is slowly getting tired. But this horror doesn't seem like it's going to stop.
Ivo, you got to run in front of the horror. Run in front of the horror.
Are you sure? All right.
And hopefully just miss the horror enough where the rope kind of tangles up its feet and it will stumble.
If you yell at Orez, Orez can jump.
Which Nimbus... Orez, get out of the way!
What way?
Up!
And they'll just up.
Chris is like, huh?
yes.
What's
With that face.
over there? As you jerk Rika around and you try to cut in front of both of them, you see Orez jump as the rope is taut and they clear over it, no problem. You see the other horror sprinting, jumps, grabs a horn, rips it off, and these are the ones that are curved, grabs it with the hook right here, and as it jumps over the rope, catches it with the horn, slicing right through, and keeps running after Orez. What was that, Corey?
Was that one baned?
No, it was that one was off to the side, so it would have just missed that one.
Tragic.
That one was flanking. And you see the female figure rolling and just arms over legs, just flipping every tree, just blowing apart. You just feel it in the air as it's just hitting every tree, almost like a sigh and a shudder of the forest as tree after tree after tree is falling over. And you've been around long enough to know that these trees have been around forever.
As much as this pains him to see and witness and cause, he's going to snap out of it and realize back for a second that when they left with the creature tied up, he saw Xandra falling. So he's going to turn Reika and as fast as they can go back to where everybody's at. If we make it there before something else happens, leave it to you. I'd like to jump off, tuck and roll, and cure wounds.
Before that,
Yes.
Nimbus, make me a history check.
On the way.
Corey, what are you doing right now?
I still have my one coming towards me, right?
Slow walk.
How far away is it?
Probably 15 feet if you haven't moved, really.
I haven't moved. I'm watching it because this is the closest that I've seen it so far. Does it act any differently to the larger one that I dazed? Just trying to look for any oddities, any quirks, any weaknesses.
It's walking, and you can feel the slight vibration in the ground every step it takes. But you can also see the two horns are covering up where the ears should be. It has no eyes and the mouth.
I am going to try and cast command on it and say, If you know what's good for you, maybe you should retreat. And retreat is the command word.
What's the save?
Wisdom 16. Was this one pained?
You see it take a step and freeze. Stands up straight, almost a little wobbly and shaken. Not very visibly so. You see it turn around and start to walk away.
Cora is going to use this opportunity to try and see where the others are. She can usually spot where Rieka is just by her nature of being fast, being giant wolf. And when the opportunity presents itself, she'll try and pull herself up onto Rieka's back.
As you're watching Rieka running your direction, Aura's already made it to you at this point, how fast they were running. And as they ran, this other horror keeps following. And as Aura's passes, you can tell that they're running out of breath. Aura's, make me a Constitution save.
Can I
That's
give
a
you
16.
bardic inspiration?
Sure, why not? Go ahead.
Is Aura's always running? And it was like little sing-song flash, she's just saying, just keep running!
Dory, just keep running. Just keep
Running!
running.
You're doing amazing!
D20.
1d8.
Oh, yeah. D8 for the bardic
Inspiration is
inspiration.
1d8. Inspiration, 1d8.
26.
As you're running past, you almost get like a little bit of a second wind, and you just keep running. And as you look over your shoulder, you see the other horror stop gaining on you, and you're just running at the same speed again. Is there anything you want to do?
Aura's has just been running through scenarios and options in their head, none of them working, and just curious about. They've picked up that every horror matches the aspect to their person. So they've been thinking, how would I trick me? And as they get close to one of the bigger trees around, they'll run up the side of it, backflip backwards, and try to grab a hold of the horns and use their momentum to flip it.
Go ahead and give me an acrobatics check.
Math. Hold on. 22.
And now go ahead and give me an unarmed strike.
Natural 20.
Man, all y'all are not 20s tonight. Come on now.
That's the first one I've rolled, thank you very much.
As you run up this tree and you backflip over it, you grab both horns on the front of its face, and as you land with your momentum, you just throw it. And as you do it, you see it hit a tree, and you know that you're not that strong, but as it hits the tree, it goes right through. And you see it roll a couple times.
As soon as Aura sees that it does not have eye contact, they take off again, and I'm going to try to hide.
Go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
That's another natural 20 for a 26.
fire.
As you're running, you throw it, and you just dash a couple trees away, and you just, against the tree, the shadows hit you, and you almost turn invisible against the shadow of this tree. And you see the figure kind of stumble a little bit, starts to stand up. You see its arm is bent the opposite way, and a bone is sticking out of the leg. And you see it reach down and grab its leg, shove it back down, and you can hear the audible pop. And you see black ooze wrap around it. Shakes the leg a little bit, stands on it, jumps on it once, and starts looking around as it grabs its arm and snaps it back and shoves the bone back in place. And it starts walking back to where you threw it from.
Orez is just put up, hair tied back and hidden, eyes closed, dulling their breath to just sink into the shadows as much as they possibly can.
Ivo, you had a plan?
Yeah, is Xandra up?
So you wanted to go past, hop out, and cure wounds.
Yep.
How do you do it?
Kind of hang off of Reika on the side as low to the ground as possible, let go, and just kind of tumble pretty close to Xandra. Does she have like the horn that was thrown at her like in her shoulder or something?
Yeah.
Take it, put my hand on her forehead and rip it out while I'm putting the cure wounds in. And if she opens her eyes, just go, like, grab her by the scruff and shake her a little bit, kind of like awake and go, "I told you to run!" And like try to pull her up and get her to run. We need to get out. We've done some stuff to these people, and they are not taking it. They're coming back, and we need to get out.
Xandra, as you're getting up, and you see a figure almost slink out of the shadows, almost drunkenly. And you can see almost every body part is out and mangled and bones sticking out. And just drops against the tree. And as it like slinks, you see the smirk in the face is facing you. And its shoulder starts to relocate and ooze. And as you're watching it, you see the ooze go onto the tree and starts running up and almost corroding it. And you can tell that this creature is slowly getting up.
Sandra will be trying to get her bearings and sort of stumbles back to her feet and realizes that clearly starting to miss some things. Not you again. And she'll turn and see where Ivo has taken off to, and she'll just make a beeline to follow him in his direction.
Ivo, make me a perception check. Wait, what's your passive? You're muted. I'm not the only one.
I was just feeling left out. You know, I had to do it. It's 17.
Okay, go ahead and give me a roll.
Okay. Dirty 20. 13 plus 7.
As you're running, you see a shadow from behind the tree you're running past. And a hand reaches out to grab you.
Shadow?
As you see the hand come out, you see that it has a gray-black color to its skin. And as you're running and you look over, you look up more, and you see two horns as this figure is leaning down, reaching for you.
Yeah. Bonus action, disengage. Let's get out of here, man.
That's your opportunity. If you wouldn't have rolled high enough, it would have been a sneak attack.
Jeez. Oh man. So what do I need? I need something for that, or I just see it and I'm able to avoid it.
You're able to avoid it.
Okay, thank you.
I like making my own mechanics on the spot.
Beautiful.
Nimbus, what was your history check? Yeah, you're muted.
Yes!
I caught shit. That's about all I caught right then.
That's embarrassing. 16.
You would remember the high elf that took you in, telling you the legend of the Laughing Horrors. And how thousands of years ago, he encountered one. And he would tell you how every creature and person that heard the laugh was marked for death. And as you are recalling that, you hear a tree explode. And as you look over, the 16-foot tall one shakes his head. And you can see that he has the horn that he dropped back in his hand. And his head turns sideways at an unnatural angle. Spins in your direction. And his whole body shifts over as he starts walking towards you.
Knowing what I know about the history check, are there any similar features, the one that's walking towards you right now, are there any similar features of this thing to any of the party here?
And you're saying with that history check, do you notice anything?
Yes.
You wouldn't have been told about any mimicking or copying of features or traits. And as you look around, you can see the one just popping bones back into place as she's pushing herself off this tree. You see one just finished putting his bone back into his arm and it's sealing again, and he's just walking. And his head's falling side to side as he's looking into the shadows where you know Aura is to have hid. You see Ivo running, a hand come out to grab him, and he just almost like rolls to get out of the way and gets back up and keeps running as it looms over Ivo and takes another step, and you can feel the vibrations. You feel the vibrations of the 16-foot tall stepping towards you, smashing another tree. And you see the one walking away with the broken horn back into the fog.
Nimbus is going to slowly draw his rapier and stand and wait for his horror to come closer. Does this horror have like any blighted areas that look like the blight that is on Nimbus?
Repeat that question one more time.
Like a blighted area or a spot or a symbol or a mark or something on there similar to what is on Nimbus that looks like it.
Nope.
No. Okay.
You see the female one finishes standing up. Head snaps over to the one-horned one. Smirk getting bigger. And you can see some flesh on her that hasn't healed. And you see her take one step, sinking into the shadow where she stepped. Sprouting out of the shadow of the one heading back to the fog, reaches up. You see claws extend as she drives it into the chest of this 14-foot tall one that was walking away. Pulls it down to its knees, grabs its head, tips it up, and bites the jugular, ripping it out, and you just see black ooze going everywhere. And as she does, you see the ooze from the one that she just ripped out the throat of, and it's just spraying all over her. And as it does, you see all of the wounds closing. And she starts to stand up a little straighter, not gaining any height, but you can see two more horns sprout right in the center of the forehead, a little bit smaller as these two large ones go above. And she tilts her head as you just see this black ooze running off of her, and this body just almost disintegrating in front of all of you. Ivo, you see it as you're running. You look over and you see this happening. Or as you're hiding, you kind of peek, your head melding with the shadow. You kind of look over and you see this one tearing this other one apart. Corey, you've been watching the whole time. You saw the one get out of the trance that you had it in. You see the one that you did actually trance to walk away just get torn apart. Xandra, you see as it finishes ripping off the head, the face is aiming directly at you. And she stands up, and with that same cocky, arrogant walk, starts walking towards you again.
I don't have any more rope.
And she tilts her head, kind of drops it a little bit, looking directly at you, even though she doesn't have eyes. And the only time you ever saw this head movement was when Niall would get in your face. And she takes another step forward, tilts her head the other way. Smirk widening on her face. Nimbus, you see the 16-footer looking at you. Stops. And walks over behind this female figured. Ivo, you see yours kind of stop for a second. Looks over. Looks back at you. Smirk. Ores, you see the one looking for you. Kind of stop. Looks back over. Head snapping back. to exactly where you're hiding. Kore, you hear a voice in your head. And so, I evolve. As the female one takes another step, tilts her head, looks away from Xandra, looking directly at you, Kore. And you feel the same burning sensation in your neck as the black spot starts to get bigger. And you see out of the ooze of the one that she just killed, another one hand comes out, pushing. Another hand comes out, pushing. And as it climbs out, it changes. It takes a little bit of a smaller form and walks right next to the female one at 5
Well,
foot
that's
tall.
not playing fair.
And you see a crown of thorns going around its head.
Koro just sort of has this forced smile.
And you see black pits where the eyes should be, but no eyes. You see the smile, but it's not as big as the others. And it kind of looks at you. So you all are the ones that I'm sent for. I see. And he just starts walking directly towards you, Kore.
Did we all hear that? That just last bit?
Everybody but Orez.
Koro sort of straightens, just quirks her head and says, "Will you give us your name? At least, before you kill us."
The only ones who know my name. And his smirk gets a little wider. Is your mother. And her sisters. Why do you think they had that book of mine? His
Leave.
head turns to Ivo.
And that comes out as a command, or an attempt at one.
You see his smirk gets even wider. Not to the extent of the other ones, but almost there. I'll have my book back. As he looks directly at Ivo.
Do I hear that?
Yes. You can see his mouth moving as he talks in a very grotesque way, and you can hear the black, almost tar, as he speaks.
I'll pull it out and go, so this is what all the fuss is about. Come get it. And just take off.
You see him glance up at the female figure next to him. Fetch. And you see her dash at you.
Does Orez see Ivo take off?
Yes.
Orez is going to intercept.
What is everybody else doing?
Kore is sort of going word for word with this new individual because she's angry and unsettled and she doesn't like people going after Ivo. So when he said fetch, she said retreat. And that was aimed at two targets, the female and the larger figure. Wisdom 16 for both of them.
You see the female one running. Mid-step freezes. Stops right next to you. And backhands you. And you go flying 10 feet and take 8 bludgeoning damage. And she keeps running after Ivo. The big one
Kore.
looks, starts to like sway, head still twitching, looks down at the little figure, turns, and just starts running the opposite direction of you. And every time he steps, you feel the earth shake. And they slowly start to fade. So there's a light tremor.
How close is Nimbus to the new figure?
About 25 feet.
Is his attention currently focused on Nimbus or no?
He's looking at all of you in turn.
Okay. When his intention is least on Nimbus, is going to try and attempt to kind of dissipate into not dissipate, fade into like a brush or behind a tree or something close by, and attempt to sneak behind him.
Give me a stealth check.
It's a 9.
As you kind of start to work your way around, you're going through the brush, you're small, you're making it work. You go just into your fog cloud and back out right behind this figure. What are you going to do?
That fog cloud first only lasts while I'm raging.
Oh, are you not raging anymore?
No, not currently.
Okay.
At least I believe
You still sneak around.
that should have already been like dissipated by now. Yes. Okay. Gonna try and get as close as possible.
You get within 5 feet.
At the top of his lungs, as much as he can muster, he's going to, with rapier drawn, leap onto the back of this devil, and as he's doing so, go into a rage, which will also create another 30-foot sphere with Nimbus as the focal point.
Xandra, Kore, You two see Nimbus sneak around this figure. You see him jump, yelling with his rapier, shoves it in this creature's back, and you see the fog cloud. And you can't see him anymore. Nimbus. You have your rapier through where his heart is. So, you think a weapon like this can kill me? Laughable, truly. You know, I think I've fought your kind before. Not from a great tribe. Not even a true tabaxi. And he dislocates his shoulder as he grabs you by the scruff and throws you on the ground. He takes another step. You know, how long has it been since you visited your mentors? How long has it been since you've seen their faces? Do you truly believe the horrors were wiped out after the last war? And you can feel, because you can't see him, but you feel his presence crouch to get lower to talk to you. What was the name of your mentor again? Tell me. He was a high elf, was he not?
What do you know of Nimbus's mentor? He growls at him.
Well, I know his wife is chasing one of your friends right now.
And if the rage wasn't already setting in enough, his blood, he could feel it start to boil.
What was her name? Lindra? No, that wasn't it. I swear he screamed her name before I took her.
Elistrati, you filth.
Ah, yes. That was it. And you feel a hand grab you, and he throws you. And as you go flying, you hear his voice. I'm gonna have fun playing with you. As you roll out of the fog cloud in front of Xandra.
Does Orez hear any of this?
No.
Does Xandra hear any of that?
He was in Nimbus's face.
Okay.
Just on the edge of the fog cloud, Nimbus will use one of his skills called Dew Strider, which will allow him, just like Misty Step, to teleport anywhere within the 30-foot spear. And he's going to basically try to just keep getting behind this monster. Anytime that he is thrown, he's going to keep trying to teleport right behind this monster.
So you teleport back in. What do they call you? Cats. Always land on their feet. Part of me wants to test this. And he kind of thinks, you know, the ogre I put on you to hunt you down. He won't do. And he grabs you again as you teleport in and you can't see. Can you see in it or can you not see in it?
I believe I can see like up to like 5-10 feet, maybe. But like,
He steps into your 5 feet radius, grabs you by your throat, lifts you up, and with two talon-like fingernails, digs it into the side of your neck. And you can feel the darkness ooze out into his fingers. Instead, he bites his thumb, ripping off a piece of flesh, and lets one drop of blood land directly in the open wound of your neck. I'll just send your mentor, and throws you back out of the fog cloud.
Where are Xandra and Cora in relation to the fog cloud now?
Corey, I would say that you are probably about 20 feet out from it. Xandra, you are probably within 10 feet of the outside. This is the second time Nimbus rolls in front of you as he's thrown out of this cloud.
you would see him crouched on the ground, clutching at his wound in deep agony. And had Auras been there, you would see his face twisted in rage, which is not a normal thing for Nimbus.
Xandra will kneel down to Nimbus and sort of just gently try to approach him and be like, "What is wrong with your neck?"
Just like a typical cat, hackles raised, hair on end. He will try to like swipe at you to stay back.
Hang on, listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. What happened to your neck?
In
Isaac?
between,
Given the fact that this mist does not block Auras' vision
I forgot
at
about that.
all, does Auras see Nimbus get thrown around?
Like a ragdoll.
Without a second of hesitation, Auras stops in their tracks and goes straight for this thing.
Does Xandra see Auras take off?
Does she?
What's your passive?
Passive perception?
Mm-hmm.
12.
Unless
No.
you want to roll for it.
I do, actually.
Go ahead.
Working on it.
Auras, give me a stealth check.
13.
We'll have your stealth combat Xandra's perception.
$21.
You do not see. You're so focused on Nimbus right now. Auras, what do you want to do?
The pace at which they're moving now, seeing Nimbus being messed with, it's like a shot of adrenaline has been pumped into their system. And where they were a blur before, it's almost like they're teleporting. Just straight into this figure, dagger out, aiming for the shoulder to knock them to the ground.
So you want to knock him over. Give me a strength check. I'll let you do athletics if it's better.
$18.
As you run and you jump and you slam into this figure, you bounce off. Oh, the little violent one. And you see him tilt his head a little bit. I wish I could say
Whereas-
I see you, but I don't. I feel you in my shadows.
Auras gets in their face as close as they can.
Oh, do you want me to help
Snarling.
you with that? And he crouches down to be in eye level of you.
They're just snarling. You do not hurt Nimbus.
Or as what is your form without your mist?
Have you ever seen in those movies those shadow creatures from horror movies that are just... They seem like they're made out of mist and shadows, but not entirely there. There's these holes and ripples in their form. Their hair is just moving as if underwater. Their eyes have gone from their normal soft glowing white to slightly red and are glowing immensely. Just this thing of nightmares.
You see his smirk reach to his ears. Do you know how your kind was created? I could tell you, but you seem quite pissed off. I don't know why.
There's this internal conflict across their face. Their eyes quickly glance to Nimbus and then back. My kind don't even like me. Why would I want to know what created them?
It's because you don't serve me. And he grabs your face. And as he does, you can see the darkness of your form being absorbed into his hand. Go ahead and... What is it to combat a grapple?
For me, it would be acrobatics.
Give me an acrobatics check.
Natural 20 for a 23.
It's okay, he did it in that one.
Water.
So he grabs your face, and as he starts absorbing, you take 2 necrotic damage. But you pull your face back.
I don't serve anyone. Never have, never will. The last time someone tried to make me do that, I killed them.
Oh, trust me, I'm quite aware. You killed one of my inner generals. And he Sparta kicks you. And same thing, you go rolling out of this fog cloud right in front of Xandra. As you sit up, you look back into the fog. You see him readjusting his hand as you see the white of bone the whole way up his wrist. And he's almost shaking the darkness back off of his hand that he drained from you. And you see him reach down, and as he does, the ground opens up and a hand comes out, a small one. He grabs it and pulls out a small horror, rips off its head, and starts drinking the blood And every gulp he takes, you see the skin reforming on the bone of his hand. And we're going to take a 10-minute break. So we will see you all back in 10 minutes. Hopefully. See you when I see you. If I can figure this out. Welcome back to Nonsense and Magical Creatures. Drinking blood.
Okay. Can Xandra see him yet? See out of where's the fog cloud? Is it still in place?
Auras that can see him currently.
But Oris just got tossed out to me though, right?
They got up and they were looking back in as this happened.
With absolutely no regard for their own well-being, Orez is walking back towards this thing.
Xandra will call out to Orez, now realizing that Orez has also plopped in front of her. Orez, where are you going?
To deal with the disease.
Ores.
I am just...
Ores. Wait.
They'll
Wait.
stop and not turn, but their head will just...
Still clutching his wound, Nimbus looks up at Ores. We cannot win here. He is too powerful. Please, we must try to run and escape somehow, some way. This is not the way.
Orez, we will get out. We will run. Nimbus will come with us. But Nimbus is hurt in a very special way, and I need you to come be with him now.
You hear this, what normally would be a growl of frustration, but in 3 different pitches. As they turn around, grab Nimbus, and will start heading towards whatever direction Ivo is at full speed, dragging Nimbus along.
As Orez does this with Nimbus, Xandra will stand up to her full height, and she will cast Cure Wounds on herself.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I got
DM, at this point, I believe the fog cloud would be beginning to dissipate as rage is wearing off.
As you're being drugged, Nimbus, Xandra, as you kind of start to follow, Corey, you're still standing there watching. And Nimbus, you can see because you're getting drugged. I'm assuming it's like one of those cartoons where you like back of the collar, you're just like sitting there getting drugged straight backwards.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Xandra.
Did you say I was walking? I'm not walking.
Then what are you doing?
I'm standing in place at the moment and taking account of where everyone is.
Okay. So you see those two, Nimbus getting dragged. You are probably around the same spot as Corey now. Ivo, you were on Rika, right?
I was not at the time. I don't know where Rika is.
She would be staying close to you and Corey no matter what.
Okay, then probably at this point, if I'm still being chased, I would have.
She would have offered help.
Yeah.
Okay. Xandra will, after having sort of rubbed her own arm, casting her own spell. Corey.
She's not looking at you, she's looking at him.
I want you to make sure that everyone gets very, very far away. No ifs,
Let me see
no
her.
buts. Just go. I will be coming right behind you, but I need you to go ahead of me.
Corey looks towards the figure with the phonic crown, and she says, I don't like you, but I can't wait to meet you properly. And when she says that, two spectral wings unfold from her back, shaped like butterflies. It looks like the wings of a sunset moth, incorporeal, scaly, like green blues up top, more orange reds at the bottom, and they span far beyond, like, far larger than most. And with a great flap, she just shoots off into the air.
So, are you currently leaving?
Sandra said to leave. I don't feel good. I'll see if I can pick up Nimbus and Auras on the way.
Okay. Xandra and Nimbus. As you're getting drugged and you're just standing there, Xandra, you'll see the fog dissipate. You'll see the figure standing there with a smirk as the body disintegrates next to him, similar to the other one that the female ripped apart. And he says, just loud enough for Xandra, Nimbus, and Auras to all hear. So the mentor it is then. And he waves his hand. And as he does, this black sludge starts to bubble, almost like tar heated up. And Nimbus, you see a head start to come out. And as it comes out, you can see patches of what was brilliant golden hair. And as it slowly rises, you can see the skin is a dark shade of gray. One eye gone. And one bloodshot, bright blue eye. Holding eye contact with you. Only a little triangle of the pale flesh remaining. As it rises, you see the smile. You see one ear is pointed. The other, where the ear should be, is a horn. And as this figure comes out, you can just see the rest of the body is this dark gray with black veins going up it. And as it reaches its full height at 6'2", you would know those eyes anywhere. Well, that eye.
Ma. And you'll just see, like, he's just trying to form the word master, but it just can't come out. Master. And he will kind of, like, struggle his way to his feet out of Auras' grasp and kind of just bring himself to his full height as much as he can with her shoulder and just kind of, like, slowly start trudging towards his mentor.
Auras is going to stop you.
Sandra will also put her hand out in a motion to stop you.
What are you doing? What are you doing? That is my master. Clearly, he has him under some sort
Do
of
you see what
spell.
he looks like? I'm not losing you. We're leaving.
Nimbus, remember? We're all going to go. I understand you know this elf.
But he is right there.
Is that what he looked like last time you saw him?
Well, no.
Look at the color of his skin compared to the rest of these beings. That is not your master anymore.
And he'll look and try to take in the visage before him. What is he? It's can he tell that this is, without a shadow of a doubt, his master? Is there certain... Okay.
You would see the all too familiar golden tattoo that ran down right under his eye, almost like a golden teardrop that him and his wife both had, as it runs down right to where the flesh is cut off by the smile.
Nimbus, I'm begging you, you must go. Go with Orez. Please.
Nimbus will clench his fist. Look at his master. Falaf Tala, which anyone understands in Elvish. I'll see you again. And it will grab Orez's shoulder and turn to run in the direction that Ivo was going.
Nimbus, as you say that, and you're holding eye contact with his one eye, his mouth opens. And as it does, you see one tear running down the golden tattoo as you hear this.
Nimbus keeps going.
Kore will drop below the tree line to where Orez and Nimbus can see her, sort of jerk her head in the direction that has been trampled, which signifies that Ivo and presumably Reka had gone, and just say, "This way."
You would see a path of destruction, where straight ahead you would see where Rega and Ivo went, but every tree that was in the path is just blown apart and rot going through it.
How far out are our different members of the party now behind where Xandra is?
You are with the back of the party currently. You are all chasing Ivo to catch up now.
Okay. How far away is the attacking party?
As you look, the one that was chasing Orez is just standing in the woods, head tilted, staring at Orez, not moving. The one with the two horns, standing at 10 foot, that went after Ivo, is still standing right next to the tree, just passive. You see, just in the distance, you see the female one full out sprinting.
Mm-hmm.
You see the one with the crown of horns just standing there with a smirk on his face. And now a 6'2" one that just came out with the patches of golden hair.
How far are those two away from me? Because I haven't moved yet.
30 feet.
30 feet?
The one with the patches of hair is probably 15 from you.
Okay. Xandra will, as the party is getting farther away, now change her focus and her stance to the one with the crown. And she'll sort of start pacing slowly back and forth where she's been standing. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you look different.
His smile widens just slightly.
I'm terribly, terribly curious to see or to hear how you have ended up this way. Seeing as how I thought you were dead.
And what gave you the assumption that I was dead?
Faulty reports, clearly.
Oh, let me guess. It was your centaur friend. Did he tell you I was dead? Oh, don't tell me his name. Didn't it mean death? Which is kind of funny, seeing that you thought I was dead. Me. The one who turned
Leave
you...
Dane out of this.
Oh yes, that was his name. Insignificant.
So, she starts
Just
pacing
like
a little
you.
bit broader. What is this book, and why do you want it so badly?
All those years of service. And you still don't get that you're not going to get answers out of me.
Niall, I am not here to fight you. I would like to negotiate.
His smile reaches ear to ear and opens unnaturally so. Negotiate.
What is the book?
Sandra, why are you talking to it?
Nimbus, go. I'm right behind you.
Nimbus, clearly not liking being ordered around. And after this same woman has told numerous times to run, mentally washes the hands of Xandra and turns without a backward glance, grabbing Orez by the arm, starts keep heading towards Ivo.
This entire session is just going to be Nimbus and Oris dragging each other across the woods.
Yeah, right.
Orez will just kind of link their arm with his shoulder, kind of arm in arm, but shoot one last death look at this thing with the crown before turning back around and moving.
Oris, you're going to hear in your head, well, if I could wink, I would. Good luck.
Now that that little bit of drama is over, why do you want the book?
He tilts his head. Kind of drops his chin a little bit. You know, maybe I should just send Dane after you. That would be fun.
I forgot that you were never one for negotiation. It's one of your many
I
faults.
tell you, darling.
If I get this book for you, would you stop chasing us?
You're saying that like I have control over these monstrosities.
Clearly, you can talk to them.
Just because I'm a higher rank.
Still working for bigger fish.
Not for long.
Make you a deal,
No deal.
Niall.
Xandra, do you really want me to destroy that little cute shop of yours? What were those little bats' names? Beck and Buck? Oh, you know the big one that was running? You thought he was charmed. No. I
And
had
since when
him.
can you find my shop in the first place?
Since when have I not been able to? Run along before I make you.
Today, yes. But I will see you very soon, I'm sure.
I'll see you when we both end up in the 9 hells.
You always did lack a sense of humor, and with that, she'll just sort of take her coat and she'll do one of her little spinny motions and just start charging in the opposite direction. But you will also see that in her right hand that she is charging up an Eldritch Blast if she needs it.
You still think those little tricks will harm me? Go ahead, try it. I dare you.
Like I said, Niall, not today. I will see you very soon.
You hear almost like a slimy goop. Have you ever played with like that sticky putty stuff, that noises it makes? You hear that coming from behind you.
Just
Does
that
Xandra
noise?
like it?
She will glance back slightly, but more with side eye than a full turn.
You see that every figure that was standing behind you is gone.
Like gone as in vanished?
Vanished.
Okay, not far away, not out somewhere else, gone.
And as you turn your head back forward, a hand grabs your throat. You know I don't like deals. And I especially don't like bargaining with people who I gave a gift to. What's stopping me from killing you right now?
Because in some ways, you will never stop needing me.
Oh, is that
And
true?
in some ways, I think you need this party to leave. Because it is not in your plan to finish this task today, is it?
You were always a clever one. Which is why I liked you. Emphasis on the liked. And you feel his thumb sharpen and jab into the other side of your neck. And you feel the same sensation of black ooze flooding into your neck and your veins. Have fun sleeping with 2 chasing you. One being Dane, and he throws you towards the party.
Xandra will land and grab her neck. I'm going to make him pay for bringing Dane into this. She'll sort of look at the rest of the party. It is time to go.
Nimbus is already basically gone. I mean,
Yeah, they're already
every-
I don't
You
think
should make him leave. He left.
with every step, Nimbus was getting faster and faster and faster in order to catch up with Ivo. So,
Corey, you said that you wanted to do something with Orez and Nimbus as they were running, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I said I was leading them into the right direction.
I thought you said you were going to carry him. I was like, okay, carry the
that,
two small numbers.
Yeah, if I could. I'm not sure if I... Because Orez isn't that small. Like, Nimbus I can carry just fine. He's about Ivo-sized.
Orez is only barely bigger than Ivo or Nimbus.
Oh, there we go. One in both arms.
Yes. League of Small People.
One in both arms.
Think of small people.
Sweet.
Where's my rabbit? So she's just like, got you, but each one tucked under an arm. Her wings just slow, steady flaps as the nearly destroyed forest sort of passes them by.
Nimbus and Orez, you guys are dashing, and you look down and you just see the ground leaving your feet. And you look up and you see Corey.
Leaving as in melting away or just moving around?
Just getting lifted off the ground. Like you're running,
Oh,
and then
got you.
you realize that you're running.
You're
in
running
the
on air?
Okay.
You're like, wait, I didn't know I could do this.
I will note, as you pick up Orez, in the form they currently are, they feel wet and extremely cold.
She doesn't seem perturbed by that. She's more concerned about getting you two up and away.
Also, Corey, Nimbus's fur, it's not as sharp as a porcupine's fur, but it's like a coarse, like horsehair brush, very, very rough and stiff.
A bath and some conditioner would do you good. I hope neither of you are scared of heights. Hold on.
Nimbus just scampers to whatever height he can, safely perch on you, and just
Shoulder.
Just look out. Yeah, just look out over your shoulder. Isaac, you're disconnected. There we go.
Yes, second time today. Love this journey for me. Xandra, are you walking or are you running?
If they've gotten that far ahead of me, then I'm running.
Why do I picture Jane from Tarzan just dressed up in the jungle?
I don't wear a dress.
Okay, now keep in mind, vampire. So,
I'm just saying what I pictured. Jane running through this.
I'm
Dashing.
more graceful than that.
Corey, you are flying. And as you are flying, you can see just trees falling over. And as you get closer, you see Ivo on Rika's back, just huddled down, going as fast as he can. And you see this female horror keeping up.
Nimbus is perched on my shoulder. Would that allow me a free hand to be able to grasp my crossbow and fire a bolt at it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Are my hands free?
I would assume so. How are you carrying Orez?
tucked in the crook of my arm.
Okay, then yes, your hands are free.
I don't think a 14 hits, but I can use my inspiration to roll again because I really want to hit this bitch.
14 does not hit.
It's okay. We'll try again.
Does a 20 hit?
Dead on the mark.
Ten points of damage.
So you kind of shoot down, and you see it hit her in the shoulder, and she just keeps going. Corey, what was the second roll you made?
That did not make it. That was only a 9.
So as you shoot, and it just misses. Iva, what are you doing right now?
I think I put it in the chat there, but I wanted to hand the book to Reika with that sleight of hand check. And once she has it, I'll lean down, go, keep running, and then just completely perpendicular to her, just using her side as a springboard, essentially, just complete 90 off of her back, hoping to tear the horror my way.
As Rika keeps running and you dash off sideways, she doesn't even skip a beat. She starts running sideways at you.
Perfect. That's it.
Give me a perception check with advantage.
It is 19 plus perception, you said?
Yeah, perception.
Okay. Yeah, 19 plus 7, 26.
As you're running, you hear the woods creaking again. And just a soft, almost like a desperate sigh. And you see this horror run through the side of a tree, the blight infecting the tree, and you hear a wail in your head coming from everywhere. And you hear, "Run, son of the forest," and a hand shoots out of the oak it just hit, grabbing the horror by the face, pulls it back into the tree, and the bark closes around it.
Hearing that, he will put every last ounce into his muscles, springing off every limb and tree he can find, trying to gain like a spring, trying to gain speed off of that. And his eyes begin to well up as under his breath he says, "I'm sorry. I'll find a way to fix you. I'll find a way." And he just books it.
Corey, you witness all of this happen.
They've woken up. And she's just like smiling from ear to ear.
And Xandra, you seem to finally be catching up to the group.
Where Like by catching up, how close am I? Am I within earshot now?
Yes.
Okay. Has Corey landed? I lost track of who's got who.
Not yet. She has both Orez and Nimbus.
Okay. Instead of she'll have nothing to say to the group other than just catching up with them. Can she see the terrain out way ahead? Can she see where they're headed? Does she recognize where they're headed?
Are you guys running in any particular direction?
I would assume we would try to go
given this area
back
of
to
the
the
woods.
tree. Go ahead.
Yeah, given
I
this
mean,
area of the woods,
We were headed
Would-
towards the mountain, right?
we were headed towards the tree which passed the mountain, like the great tree. But I believe that's some distance away. We're not close to that, are we?
It's still some distance away.
It's like a good journey.
Well,
so
yeah, but if we're gonna pick a direction, I assume
Yeah.
that's where we were headed.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Given where we are in this area of the forest, meaning to head towards the direction of the tree, would Corey or Eva, would they be aware there's a good spots to take shelter in?
You would remember an alcove that you both would meet at. Right at the base of the mountain. Right. Almost if you're like looking at the city on the left of the mountain and the forest, the great tree on the right is like directly under the mountain.
Is Ivo within 120 feet of me?
Yes.
He'll just hear the whisper in his ear, head to the alcove. Just in his head.
As he hears that, he will do a different whistle than he did before, and just and Rika will change direction and start meeting up with him as he goes to the alcove that Corey told him to meet at with Rika.
You all travel for what seems to be like a couple hours, just nonstop. And you finally make it to this little alcove. All of you are exhausted, tattered, bloody. And Ivo, you know this area because you've built a tree house here. And there's a bigger oak that its branches were perfect to build up, and then you kind of built around it, not damaging the tree in any way, but that is where you guys would meet up.
Getting there, panting, exhausted, but still angry. There's been some time to kind of cool off, but he gets off Rika and takes his bow and just chucks it against the tree and like kicks the leaves and sticks on the ground, just muttering to himself. Just incredibly just frustrated, saying like, I should have finished that one off and I had a chance. Now there's 3 more of them and I can't do anything right.
Corey will sort of descend down onto the treehouse and gently lay Orez and Nimbus down, saying, watch your feet. Mind the pots, he worked very hard on those. Are all of you well? Enough, I guess?
Nimbus is pissed. Like, fur is still on end. And as soon as his paws touch the ground, immediately kicks over a paw. Ah! You were so useless back there.
Oris comes up with an empty pot and hands it to him, just for him to do whatever he wants with it. Have another.
One of the faulty ones.
Yeah.
It's gonna take the pot. Deep breath. Slams it on the ground.
Feel better?
Oddly enough. Yes.
All right. I'll make us some tea then.
Corey stares out. So Corey's.
Orez looks. The remnants of their form shifting back into mist and darkness. Their eyes going back to their normal color. But they still look very angry. And very contrasting to when you first met them, where they were just bubbly and talking and excitable. They are silent. You don't even hear them breathing, as they just sit in the nearest shadow and almost disappear except for their eyes.
I'll let a ladder down for Sandra once I see her sort of coming near.
As soon as Zandra gets close, Nimbus steps right into her face. You! What were you doing back there?
I was trying to get us information. I know him. It's been a very long time since I've seen him. I was making sure that my suspicions were correct. He didn't look like that when I knew him before.
Who did you know him
My
as before?
apologies.
Who was he to you?
Oh, my dear. That is now Vampire Lord, very ancient, very cruel, my initial patron.
Niall was the name he gave you.
Say again.
Niall, that was the name he told you.
Correct. It's what I knew him by. Back when I worked for him. Before he turned me.
Cora turns to Eva and gives him a very meaningful look as she says, I need to sleep. And Eva would know this as Cora has a habit of walking through the dreamscape when she nods off. And also, they all look very battered.
Yeah. Evo making eye contact and pouring a cup of tea, one of the last ones, kind of looks over and goes, I think we could all use a good cup of tea and a good rest. And then he brings it over and pops it up as high as you can go to Xandra and to give her the first one. Here you go, love. I'm not sure if your kind drinks tea, but there.
Oh, I absolutely relish in it. Orain makes me tea on a daily basis. Thank you, my dear.
You're welcome. If you have a minute later, I'd like to speak with you.
Of course. And she says in a
What's
much more
the book?
serious tone.
Where's the book?
Reka had it. I handed it to her as a diversion. I couldn't have... If the horror caught me, then they would just have me and not what they were after. She did awesome. And he kind of looks at her like you've seen a few times before, but this time it was one of the closer calls that you have all had in the last couple of years. And he's just very appreciative of Reika and her speed, and just kind of, yeah. And then goes around and hands Nimbus
She's sleeping.
Nation scritches.
All the scritches. Goes around and hands Nimbus a cup of tea as well, and goes, "I've got something a little bit stronger if you'd like it, but this ought to help you rest a little bit better."
Takes the mug in his hands and stares down at the cup. Looks at Xandra. Or I'm sorry. No, I'm the right way.
Yeah, there you go.
Looks at Xandra. Nile. More like a pile of shit. and he'll spit not into the fire, but like at it. And
Xandra.
And he'll just sit there sipping his tea.
As
Xandra
you
will sort of chuckle and agree and just sort of do like a slightly confused but sort of covered it. Yes. Yes, that is
that works.
100% true.
As Nimbus kind of sits down, Evo's gonna kneel down and put a hand on his shoulder and go, "Your strike path there was much appreciated. Make quite the team there. I look forward to doing that again."
This one was pleased by your ingenuity.
No, this is my home. You're welcome to sleep wherever you like. And then he goes over to Oris and does the same with the tea, giving it to them, and just making sure that they're all right, and if they need anything else, to let him know. And then he will go and start stripping bamboo into long, thin strands to make noodles out of.
Xandra will actually go over by Ivo and get comfy and sort of take a seat. What is it that you want to speak to me?
Takes an old cleaver. It's slightly rusted on the edges, but sharp. And as he's hacking into the bamboo and just kind of going through, and you hear the bone breaking sounds of it as it cuts. You know, when you first came out of that tree, I didn't really care for you. Just even harder. But you did something back there that I cannot ignore. And you put yourself between me and the Har. Why did you do that?
Ivo, I am getting old. Over 1,000 years, in fact. Old.
Yeah, you don't look a day over 500.
And she sort of looks like she's going to be very, like, back on it. Well, I am originally an elf. That's off prime. Thank you very much. I have gotten old, and I have been at peace for a very long time. I have this little family, you see. I keep them very safe and away from all. I have my wonderful friend, who I'm here to visit, by the way. You'll adore her when you get to meet her. But once upon a time, Ivo, I knew nothing but the opposite of peace. I knew cruelty. I knew suffering. And while those have now been many, many moons past, those days haunt me still. I could not help but realize that that moment, it took me back to those days, that suffering, that danger. That is exactly what I keep my little family safe from. You seem more than worth saving, little Ivo.
That sentiment's very appreciated. You put yourself in harm's way for me and my family. My little pack. So I suppose you're worth trusting, at least for a little bit. But just know I'll keep my eye on you.
As is very common for my kind, I take no offense.
The other thing I wanted to speak to you about, maybe this is better with the rest of the group, but you said you knew these horrors. Or you knew something about them, or the creatures we were hunting. You had connections with some greater power and...
My friend.
Yes, of course.
My lovely friend. In due time, she is who we need. She is who we need now, and she is who we must go to once we are rested. She's very serious. It's the only one I know who may know what to do.
Yes. Evo's gonna go again.
I don't know what they are. I thought they were stories. I thought Niall was dead. Apart from the mission I was set out to perform for my friend, every bit of today has been a shocking surprise. And that is all I can tell you. I wish I had more.
Fair enough. He's going to reach over and get the book and kind of throw it in front of Xandra as he puts the bamboo strips that he's gotten into the boiling water and start boiling those. And go, this is where mine started. And he pulls his little scarf down right there. I read 3 words in this book and was marked for death for doing so.
Xandra, upon seeing him flop down the book, she'll put down her cup of tea and go, Is this what he's after?
That's the one right there. I've tried for the last 2 years to read anything but those 3 words. To no avail.
Does Xandra recognize this book at all as being something in Niall's possession from before?
Nope.
I knew Niall for a long time, and he is much, much older than me. I can tell you... Well, and then there's my youth, my actual youth, my childhood. I've never seen anything like this. Where did you get this?
And he kind of pauses for a little bit, wondering if he should tell her. He looks over at Corey and takes a note from her book to take a leap of faith and to trust someone and to reach out instead of holding back. And relaxes a little bit, chopping up some slices of rutabaga to finish off his little meal prep. He goes, Corey's mum, she had this cursed book in a locked cabinet and saw fit to give it to me. Hooray.
Saw fit?
Still can't believe she opened bed for you. Unbelievable.
Listen, I didn't want this at all.
Okay.
All right? I wish I could go back to the way things were, live in my tree in peace, and not have these things hunting us day and night. All right? I just want to go back to my village. I don't want any of this, but here we are. So we got to deal with what we've got. Sorry, I'm just tired.
We're all very tired.
Go back to how things were. which is why we've been trying to deal with that situation for 2 years now. You can imagine what it was like when there was only one after Ivo. Now there's, what, 5?
And counting with that Crown of Thorns man.
Seeing as how Niall has placed 2 on me specifically,
So 7.
I think we're unfortunately at 6 or 7.
I just seem to keep
Ivo.
multiplying.
7.
May I take a look at this book?
I mean,
Not to
seeing as
open.
you're...
But may I pick it up?
Sure. I mean, seeing as you're twice as cursed as
The
I am,
worst.
I don't think that book's going to do anything to you. I've been reading it for 2 years and I
The
haven't
worst
gotten
has
any
already
worse.
happened.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
right.
suppose that's true. But you see, I deal in odd little rarities such as this, and it troubles me that I don't know anything about it. Sandra would like to inspect the book as much as she can to try to glean any sort of like clue as to whether or not she understands what kind of curse it is, where it's from, etc. You're not talking.
let me check something real quick.
Okay.
In the meantime, Ego's gonna serve up the bamboo noodle ramen and take some. Excuse me, my goodness. Take some to Orez and Nimbus and Corey and Xandra if she wishes to have some. I'm sorry I don't have much meat around here. I'm not much of a meat eater, but there should be enough protein in that to suffice.
And keeping in mind, I do have such things like Eyes of the Runekeeper. I'm just
I was checking.
reminding you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sandra, you open the book. It is a leather-bound, covered book that they would have told you is actually the leather from the skin of a laughing horror. As you open it, on the first page, you read, "When you hear the laugh, you are marked for death." As you flip it, when one is marked, the end has come. Very big, almost scribbles hard to make out. Next page. Darkness reigns forevermore across the entire page. You flip it again. The light is blocked. And you can see almost like ink stains, but you know it's not ink because as you flip the page, you see it move a little bit.
Mm.
You flip the page. The laugh remains. Flip the page. Only the laugh. Flip the page. Only the laugh. Flip the page. Laugh. And as you keep flipping the pages, it's just rambling about how all that remains is the laugh. Nothing but the laugh. Darkness. No light. Laughter. No sound. Laughter.
You're flipping an awful lot of pages in there.
Xandra will go ahead and smack it closed. Ivo, this is a very disturbing little book.
Oh, you're telling me I've been carrying it around for 2 years, giving me the heebie-jeebies.
That's why I was locked away.
I don't know if I've ever come across an artifact that is this disturbing yet severely lacking in details. And she just sort of looks like she's scratching her head and just utterly confused at what she's just read.
So there's no information in there that's going to help us.
I have seen the wickedest of curse books. This is rambling. It doesn't make any sense.
Wait. Ivo, are you some sort of harbinger of bad news or something? And this Nile is the bringer of this bad juju?
Niall is more than a bringer of bad juju, let me tell you. Bad juju is barely the tip of his iceberg. She's just staring at the book, still very confused.
But he wasn't this way then, or so you said.
No, actually. Niall was my ancient vampiric patron. He was a vampire. Now, she sort of puts her hand back on the book. Now he is something else entirely. This has changed since I knew him last.
He said there were 4 people who knew his real name. I wish to speak to them, but I can't do that quite yet.
And how will you find these people, Corey?
Well, they're family. But to go home would mean to go in the opposite direction. I will try and call upon them when I sleep. It would be safer than to expose more people.
Agreed. I trust you'll let us know how your slumber is when that happens.
I will see if I can bring you in, if you would allow it.
Oh? And Xandra will sort of perk up at that. Well, I haven't traveled in a dream in... Oh, it's been ages. I accept.
Evo kind of looks over and goes, "You like that sort of thing? Oof, she took me once. It was ran all the way through me. Oof, don't care for it."
Yes, but then I took you to that giant tree and it was quite cool. You had the time of your life swinging from those vines.
That was actually quite nice. But the rest of it, I mean, when you came out, it was just felt all icky or something. I didn't like it.
Are you sure you didn't get stung by the flying jellyfish? That might have been it.
I don't remember my dreams. I probably should write them down. Evo's going to go over to Aura's and offer them a bowl of food. Aura's, so, did you have fun out there? Sorry, it feels kind of weird saying that coming out of my mouth, but you said you wanted to see something spooky, and there you go. There's the scariest thing I know.
Their eyes flash up to meet yours. Started out fun. Didn't end that way.
It never does.
They'll take the bowl, just kind of look at it. What is this?
It's a soup. I don't know if you've had ramen before, but this is made with bamboo, rutabaga, a few herbs and spices from around the whole place here, and a skosh of spice beetle, actually. Really nice hint in there. You can add meats to it. Sometimes I'll dry some squirrel, but I just don't have any. You can supplement your own meat if you have it. It goes well with, chicken, pork, squirrel, beef fly, whatever you got, really. It's pretty neutral base, but so yeah, it's good nutrition. There's plenty of protein in it, and hopefully it'll help you sleep really nice. And you're welcome. And he kind of points up to the tree that is now kind of mildly glowing from inside as he went up and kind of lit a few lanterns. You're welcome to stay either here. There's a few accommodations down on ground level, or you're welcome to stay up in the house. I've got a few places for people to rest, if need be.
Any dark places?
Dark places. there's actually a really nice hollowed out tree about 15 feet that way. And he points over. You see a large kind of tree with a decent sized opening that you could probably comfortably fit in and sleep if need be. I could also get you a curtain to make it a little bit darker if you want, and just kind of drape it over the opening.
Thank you.
I'll get that right away. And he goes off. And
Or as while people were talking or as and Nimbus were quiet, I would say through the 2 years that Oris and Nimbus have known each other, Oris would have taught him Night and Sign language. And would have, as soon as they got there, just signed, "Are you okay?"
Nimbus wouldn't respond for a moment. I'm okay. He'll respond, okay.
It hurt you.
No. Crazy out there.
What do you think those things are? It knows about me. Nobody knows about me.
Not only that, it knew about who made you. And who brought your existence into being.
I don't like it. I like a lot of things, but I don't like it.
What I didn't like was seeing your very self being sucked into it.
It's not as quick as he thinks he is.
Let's not try that again.
If it came down to you, I would. You know that.
I and you. And he will take a sip from his tea and finish it. And then he will turn to the rest of the party. So what do we do? What do we do?
Xandra will stand up and turn around so she can see every member of the party. We need to go to the tree. As soon as we are rested, we need to visit the Queen.
Royalty doesn't like me. That might not go well.
My dear little monster, this is no ordinary queen. And she herself has been known to be quite spooky in her own way. You like her very much.
I've only heard things about her, but I've always wanted to meet her.
I think you will absolutely adore her. She is one of my bestest friends and has been for a very, very long time now. She can help us. We should ask her what our next move is. She too has fought Niall alongside me, and she will very much want to know that he has returned.
That is his name? Niall?
Is what I know him as, yes.
Why does he know about me?
That is a very, very good question.
I know some people who know of people like me, but he knows about me, my people, how they were made. That does not happen every day. How does he know about me?
Niall is an acquirer of knowledge. Nile dealt in cruelty and in blackmail. Knowledge is very important to Nile. He has ways. He also has, like myself, more powerful connections than himself. I would stand to guess this is not knowledge Nile acquired on his own. Clearly, he has been utilizing it. We will consult the Queen and see what she has to say to that as well.
And what do we have to gain from going to the tree and to this queen? What if it doesn't work? What then?
What if it does?
I stabbed this bastard through the heart. And nothing.
That is true. He has changed, as I've stated prior. He is an odd level of impenetrable, she says, sure drifts off in that sense of like someone who's lived a very long time and can't just die. She's calling it odd. When I knew him before, he could be felled in the way that our kind can. He was immortal yet not. But this... whatever evil he has dabbled in now is much, much stronger than the one I knew him to deal with when I was his slave.
It's almost as if
He did say
he's-
he was evolving when he consumed that.
it's almost as if
He did.
he has gained the powers of a god. And it is growing.
With that, Xandra will turn around and sort of put one hand up on the wall, and she'll just be deep in thought. Niall always wanted power. Obsessively so. All he really knew how to do at the end of the day was to throw his weight around.
Looks like he learned to throw somebody else's weight around. He looks over at Nimbus.
You can see Orez sitting just a little bit behind him, snarl at you.
All right, sorry. Couldn't let it pass.
No, Ores, it's fine. He has a point.
Just because he has a point doesn't mean he has to say it.
True, but my master, you don't know. My master was powerful, well trained in the blade and the art of magic and sorcery.
With that, Xandra will sort of come back to a little bit out of her deep thought and sort of turn her head and side-eye, but then all the way turn around. Yes, that caught my attention. I meant to ask you, and it's for a different day, but I'm quite interested in that you know the people of my birth.
I keep forgetting people don't know where I come from.
I'm sure it's a long story.
You don't
One
even
after
talk
this
to me
parti-
about it.
Some stories are painful for the telling, or as I'm sure Nimbus has nothing but good reasons.
Well, I'm just saying, he realizes people don't know about it, but even people like me who've been around for 2 years almost constantly don't know.
Fair. For another day, I'll be quite curious. But first, a plan.
Sleep.
If we are sleep first, absolutely, Oris. I think we can all second that. Tomorrow, we'll head for the tree. We'll speak to Lamra. See what she says. If she cannot aid in our pursuit against Nile, we will come up with a plan B then. And she looks directly at Nimbus. Can we all agree on that?
Nimbus looks at Xandra, stares daggers at her. Fine. But I sleep with both eyes open tonight.
Level of exhaustion. Not really.
As Nimbus says that, Evo's like putting up his little alarm traps around camp, stringing across like little bones and rock and just different things that he's found around the forest to make noise if they're ever run into, and he just kind of puts them up where he feels the best places for entry would be.
I will correct you on something real quick. It was the female horror that said that she was evolving.
Mm.
And then after that was when the other one came up. Corey, what are you doing right now?
Corey sort of setting up her corner of the treehouse, which was usually reside in. It's close to the balcony and it's more hammock than a bed. So then she can just sort of string it up between the boughs of a tree without causing Eva much fuss. And she's sort of humming a small lullaby to herself, which her mother used to sing to her. And that's sort of her way of grounding herself in preparation to dreamwalk.
I love it.
It's quiet and it's in Elvish.
A little bit closer, if you can. So you are going to bed.
Sorry, there's a bit of a lag. What just happened after that?
Oh, you were playing it, but it wasn't close enough to hear the whole thing.
That's okay. It was just a vague tune anyways.
No, it was
I
still
cut it off
holding
shortly.
the sound to the hum. So, Corey, you are getting ready to sleep. Ivo, you are listening from the treetops. I'm assuming Nimbus is obviously passed out in the corner from this humming.
Depends. Is it a full moon tonight?
Do you want it to be a full moon tonight?
Yes.
Okay, it's a full moon tonight.
Then, for a good chunk of the evening, Nimbus is going to be seen on like a tree in the clearing that probably has the least amount of branches, but the highest up, and he'll be sitting there just seen staring at the moon.
Orez, what are you doing right now?
Horace is sitting at the base of the tree that Nimbus is sitting in. And
Oh, go ahead.
just kind of reliving memories that they don't want to remember because they don't like talking about their tribe, the people they come from. And most of the time they'll avoid the topic when they can. So meeting someone that knows them resurfaces stuff that they want to forget. So they probably eventually fall asleep, but they're just sitting in shadows, eyes the only thing visible, unblinking, just deep in thought.
Or are you resting against that tree? Like your back's against the tree. Just as you're trying to get comfortable, Nimbus will reach down and I imagine the 2 years you've known each other developed some kind of like secret knock or something. And just, I'm okay. I'll knock on the tree.
They'll knock back. I'm okay.
That's adorable.
That is adorable.
Xandra, what are you doing right now?
Xandra will be near Corey as Corey talked about potentially taking her with her to the dreamscape. So Xandra will plant herself beside Corey and see how this goes. She'll be awaiting
The whole party, if I'd allow it.
information.
What was that, Corey? What did you say about the whole party?
Corey would take the whole party if they were willing. If she could.
I see Aura is like, I'm good.
Okay.
Nimbus, are you good?
No.
Okay.
It's just me.
Corey, what does that look like for you?
So Corey sort of sleeps on her side and she's holding her dream journal that was given to her by her mother. Well, that records her own dreams, which is why she giggled a little bit when Ego said he should start writing his down. Because if she flips back to chapter 2, she can see exactly where they went and what happened to him. But she's not going to. So she sort of lets her mind drift. And she lets herself fall into that deep slumber. And by mechanics of a feat, I needed to roll a 6 to actually access the dreamscape, which I did. And I'm seeking out the subconsciousness of my aunt, Enya specifically, because she's the one who's more easily found in any field that usually involves dreams of a mind.
That's the youngest, if I remember correctly, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. As you're kind of looking for her, normally you guys connect right away, but it's almost like you were put on hold. And in the dreamscape, are you walking around or what's happening?
I imagine it that she's sort of walking around in this great mist that sometimes will manifest to form the image of trees or the ruins of castles, but nothing so concrete unless she wills it so, or unless she's directing herself towards a specific area if she's in the dreamscape to a certain location, if that makes sense. In this moment, she's just trying to pinpoint an individual, so it's all mist, shifting mist.
Okay. As you are kind of wandering this landscape of your dream and you're looking for Enya, you're kind of wandering around a little bit. And like you usually do. It's always been very easy for you to find out where they're at. And how to communicate to them. But for some reason, it just, you're not getting the connection.
Cora is immediately concerned because this doesn't happen. And she doesn't like this happening straight after we met that guy who she doesn't like. So she met someone she doesn't like, and now something that's happening that she also doesn't like. This is not a good day. And she's worried. I will
Okay.
manifest the deeper areas of the forest, the trail that usually leads past the woods into the old forest towards the swamp, and see if anything looks out of place, as if it's a reflection of the real world.
As you're walking, everything seems to be fine. Roll me a perception. Is Xandra there with you?
Not yet, I haven't pulled her in.
Okay.
I was only a 10.
As you're
My
walking,
passive is 14.
passive is 14. Okay, we'll go with passive then. As you're kind of walking, you notice some branches broken on a nearby tree. And as you go
Is the
in
blood-
for a closer look, you see a black tendril running up the trunk of this oak.
A black tendril running up where, sorry?
The trunk of this weeping willow tree.
So what manifests for those around is in this, not even the center, but in the center of the swamp, there is a giant willow tree that looks as if it stood there from the time the swamp was still a lake. That's how old it is, with its great branches sort of spreading outwards in almost unfathomable directions, with the weeping willow branches sort of dripping down to sort of trickle across the grass and cause the surface of the once lake turn swamp and sort of cause ripples as an invisible wind sort of breezes over it. She immediately takes off running towards the front door.
As you are sprinting, you hear the clang of metal. You get a little bit closer. You hear a yell. You get a little bit closer. And you hear a grunt. And as you get to the front door, you see Dana. Full plate armor. Great sword out. And she swings, slicing through the chest of what you know to be a laughing horror. And as she swings, you see the chest separate, and as soon as the blade's through, it closes again. And you can see just puddles of black ooze everywhere around you.
Corey sort of frozen spot, sort of watching this go on. Can she hear or see anyone else? And just sort of reached behind her, and then, as if she's grasping someone's hand, and the mist will form, and she tugs in Sandra, and she turns to you and say, "This is very, very wrong. We shouldn't have found this place." So Sandra, what you feel as if Corey in the waking world had gone up to where you were.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a bit of lag. Sandra, what's the last thing you heard me?
Say what?
She's asking what the last thing you heard her say was.
What's the last thing you heard me say?
Last thing I heard you say was pulling me in, we shouldn't be here, and that you were describing to me what it would feel like for me to be pulled in.
So I know you said you were just resting because vampires sleep. Kind of weird. So it would feel as if in the waking world she had gone up to you and grasped you by the forearm and pulled you up.
Okay.
But rather than pulling you up, she's pulled you into the subconscious.
Okay. I haven't done this in a very long time. I miss that feeling.
I wish it was nicer.
What have you found?
Xandra, you see everything that I just described to Corey. You see a woman in full battle armor slicing through laughing horrors, and they keep reforming and more keep coming out as she just swings away. Trees surrounding you, corroded with this black ooze. Massive weeping willows and a massive weeping willow right in front of you.
I see. Yes, I've definitely been in nicer dreams than this. Corey, who is that? The knight.
That's my aunt. One of them, Dana. She's the strongest of the three. But we can't help them. This is just a dream.
No.
And she's visibly distressed.
Xandra will put her arm out to reach for Corey and just try to provide a little bit of comfort as she's taking in this scene. No, it is a dream. It is a dream. Do you recognize any of this, Corey? Did you know that any of this happened?
Huge flag, sorry.
You okay?
The last thing I got was... you sort of putting your hand out.
Okay. So Xandra puts her hand out to just sort of give some comfort and reminds Corey, it is just a dream. This is a dream. Did you know of any of this before stepping into this dreamscape? Has your aunt ever described these horrors before?
Well, yes, she was there when I have got the book. She knows what they are. She's fought them before. And she's fighting them now.
I see.
This isn't just a dream, this is my dream.
I see. What happens if we move forward?
Cora was sort of trying to maneuver past Dana into the interior of the house, which is an exact reflection of the interior foyer. So the largest willow tree is hollowed, and it's where they've made their home. Inside is an internal structure of a spiraling staircase that you can assume leads to the levels up above. There's a kitchen off to the side, sort of indoor-outdoor kitchen where you can presume, because we're out in the woods, a lot of the cooking is mostly done outside to prevent the smoke rising. And right now she's just looking for her mother.
As you are walking past Dana, you can see chunks of her armor were ripped off. And you can see just gashes in her shoulders, one in her neck. You can see the side ripped up. And everywhere you can see blood, you can see black ooze with a pulse. And you can tell that these are marks. And from what you can count quickly, there's 7 on her.
Seven. Corey will sort of reach her mind out and very quickly say, Auntie, can you hear me?
Xandra will reach out. Are you sure?
That's what I want to find out.
Oh, okay, cool. As you reach out, Corey, you're talking to Dana, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You hear back in your head, my dear, I would not be here if I were you. And she just sounds exhausted and out of breath.
What did she say? That came up a worse time. I'm so annoyed. I'm like already stressed, and then I can't understand anything that's going on, which is actually quite in character accurate. So we'll take it.
Hoping for the character building, of course. You
Yeah.
hear her say in your head,
Short orders.
I wouldn't be here if I were you. And almost out loud,
Oh, but too late for that.
you hear in a whisper, the laughing, the laughing, the laughing doesn't stop. And as you walk in the front door behind Dana, you see Enya in the corner in the fetal position, rocking.
Corey will turn to Sandra and say, they called her Mad Enya, but she's never been like this.
And I wonder if in this moment she truly has gone mad.
Cora will sort of go up to Enya and just rest a gentle hand, petting her hair, sort of smoothing it back away from the moonstone diadem that she wears. And she's still looking for signs of Phaedra specifically, looking for her mother.
Xandra, as you make the comment about perhaps she's actually gone mad, you hear a very elegant but stern voice. She's not mad yet, and neither are we. And you see this very elegant figure walking down this set of stairs that kind of traces the inside of the tree. She looks directly at you, Corey. My dear, it's quite a bad time.
Oh, yes, I can see that. And Corey rushes up to her and gives her a hug. And she's like holding her so tight, but her nails are digging into the palm of her hand. Can you handle this? Are you safe?
She kind of hugs you back and kind of takes you off of her and just holds you and cups your face in her hands. Darling, I've been around for thousands of years. You really think something like a laughing demon's going to stop me? And you can distinctly see her neck is marked. But hers have veins of red in them.
Good news, bad news. Good news, we learned a lot, and Cora is just talking in a rush with the intent of conveying as much information as she can within the limited time that they have. Good news, we learned a lot. Bad news, we have 7 on us, on a party of 5. Evo, my friend Sandra here, vampire, she's great. Controlled, or rather, given direction by an elder vampire. He said his name was Niall. He said you know his
Right.
true name.
You see her eyes just close a little bit. You're just like skeptical. So Niall's back. So we put that little child in his grave. She kind of nods for a minute. Looks around. We can get it here, darling. Go do what you need to do. And she kind of pauses, staring at you. His true name is Niall. But it's not that you need to seek. It's who he serves. Some call him the Abyss. Others call him Death. He goes by many names, and I know not his true name. She looks at you, almost with a hint of sadness in her eyes. Don't rush home this time. Take your time.
More good news. The Queen might be able to help us. We're on our way now. If you need me, I'll be on my way to the Great Tree. With Ivo. 3 more, including her. Call and I will come. She looks at Sandra and just gives her a
She looks at you. Now shoe along. And as she does that, you can feel your dream self getting sucked out. And as that's happening and you're getting sucked out, you can see in the shadow right above Enya a figure standing with horns coming down from the side, reaching a hand down to her. And as you're getting sucked out, you glance behind you and you see Dana on one knee with her sword stabbed into the ground. And you can see a blade piercing her chest. And you look back up and you see your mother. And she just has that sweet grin on her face that you always came home to. And that's where we're ending tonight's session.
That's on brand.
Thank you all for watching.
That's on brand.
We are now going to be starting every other Tuesday session. So not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. Tune in to the same times. They might vary a little bit depending on schedules. It should be, I'll post the schedule later, but it should be anywhere between 7 Eastern Standard Time to 11 or 7 to 10:30, I believe. So have a great night. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again. We have a game tomorrow night. So
You're not gonna be there, asshat.
family thing. Bye.
Wow.